Hi, I'm Rocco Stano, and welcome to StoryMakers. Today, we have Steve Light with us. Hey, welcome, Steve.
Hi, Rocco.
Good to see you. The last time I saw you was on the red carpet for the Children's Choice Book Awards, where your book, Have You Seen My Dragon, was nominated in the Best Illustration category.
Man, that was very exciting.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun that evening.
Yeah.
And thanks for stopping by. And thanks for stopping by here so we can learn a little bit more about you. Who is Steve Light?
I'm Steve Light, and I'm an author and illustrator of many books. I also teach a 4- and 5-year-old pre-K class, and I just love to draw and I love to tell stories.
Ah, well then you're in the good, you're a good
In the
spot.
right place.
Right, you're in the right place. And this is your newest book, Have You Seen My Monster, which pretty much follows Have You Seen My Dragon. This is a counting book.
Yeah, Dragon is about a little boy who loses his dragon in the city, and it's a counting book. And Monster is about a little girl who loses her monster at the country fair, and it's a book about shapes, so circle, triangle, square, and it's all the rides that are at the county fair, like the Ferris wheel and the roller coaster, and even the livestock and the fun things to eat like cotton candy and stuff.
And shapes. I understand there are 20 numbers in this book. Right.
There's 20 numbers, so we had to come up with 20 shapes. And I used to teach Montessori school, and at a Montessori school you have a shape cabinet which you pull out and has all the shapes cut into wood that the kids can trace and do all different things with. And so I was like, oh, I think there's 20 in the cabinet, and there's 20 shapes in the Montessori cabinet. So we use those shapes. So you have circle, square, and triangle, the regular ones, but you also have like curvilinear triangle and quadrifoil and crescent and things like that. So it was a lot of fun to kind of find things that those shapes could fit into in the country fair.
Right, we could tell our viewers to actually pause this video and turn to your neighbor and see how many shapes they can.
See if they can name 20 off the top of their head.
Name 20 of those, right. But if you can't, they have to get Have You Seen My Monster? So how long does it take to create one of these books?
Well, the sketches and getting the story right takes about a year and a half.
Really?
Yeah, just to get it just right, and what exactly is going to go in the book. A lot of back and forth with my art director and editor. And then the finished art, I usually do in the summer when I'm not teaching. And so I usually have 3 or 4 months. Each 2-page spread takes me about 2 or 3 days to do. So, but it's a lot of fun.
So tell me, do you have a studio with lots of light?
No, I actually work in a closet. It's a walk-in closet and and another area right outside the closet, and I have my desk in there, and I actually have a little saw where I make things out of wood and stuff in the walk-in closet. So it's a little tiny space, but it's very organized, and I have everything in there, and I've created quite a few books there, so it seems to work as much as I would love a huge space with lots of flat files and things.
Right.
It's New York City, so you make the space work.
Did you have the concept for these books and go to your agent and say, I want to do a counting book and I want to do a shape book? Or did they come to you and say, hey, Steve, I think there's a market for a counting book, or there's always a market for a counting book, and no one's ever done 20 shapes?
Well, nothing like that. Usually I start drawing something that I really want to draw. And so I started drawing the city. And I remembered a story from when I was a kid. My dad and I drove into the city, and I saw smoke coming out of the manhole cover. And I said, Dad, is there fire down there? And he goes, no, there's dragons. That's the dragon breath. Without missing a beat, that's my dad. And I believed that for a really long time. So when I was drawing the city, I was like, oh, this is boring, just drawing buildings. And I started adding dragons into the city. And then I just kept drawing different dragons in the city. And I showed my art director and editor at Candlewick, and they said, wow, these are great, this has to be your next book. And you can see this page is very similar to the actual page that's in Dragon. Mm-hmm. And they said, why don't you do a counting book? That way you can just draw the dragons. And originally we were gonna have the children count the dragons. Mm-hmm. But I did a sample page with 18 dragons in it, and that was a lot of dragons. So then we said, okay, let's have it just be one dragon that you have to find and other things in the city to count. So I can go back to that.
So this,
you can see a lot of the pages came directly from the sketchbook.
It's like a cross-section of this. And I understand that you enjoy hiding things.
Yes.
And what's hidden here?
So,
or it's not really hidden, but it's putting it out in the open.
You wouldn't know until I told you, but this is actually me sitting at my desk with my pens drawing. And this is actually my wife on a balcony. We don't have a balcony, but I'm hoping someday, so kind of draw it and hope that it happens.
Right.
I like to hide different things in the book, and it's fun to share them with kids and show them. The monkey on the monkey page.
Right, show that. That's I know the story on that, but they don't know the story.
They don't know the story. I think it's the page right before this. So on this page, you can see the monkey, and he's got a stick, and he's stealing the keys from the zookeeper. And so I always tell the kids when I read the story that he escaped. And if you ask me at the end, I'll show you where it is. So if you get to the end, on the back page, right up there, you can see the monkey sitting up there.
So do you do that in all your books, or did you started doing it in this book?
I started doing it in there. This was a tighter deadline, so there's not quite as many things hidden, but there's still like, sometimes when I'm drawing lots of people in the background and stuff, it helps me to just like, try to draw my aunt or something so that it looks like a real person or someone that lives in my building and stuff like that. So there's more of that kind of stuff in this book.
No, that's fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, so your next book is Swap.
Yes, my next book.
When is that coming out?
That's coming out 2016, probably in April, around April. And it's called Swap, and it's about a little pirate boy and a pirate. And the pirate, his ship is all broken down and in really bad shape, and then he loses his button too, so he's very depressed. And the little boy pirate picks up the button and says, "Let's swap." And so they trade the button for 2 teacups, and then the 2 teacups for some rope, and they keep some of the rope for the boat, and they trade the other bits of rope for oars, and then they keep some of those oars and trade some of the oars for sails and for all the things that they need to build the ship. And they're going to all these different places. The people that make the oars, you get to see them, and the people that sew the sails, and by the end they have a beautiful ship that they build.
Well, it sounds like a good book for economics also.
Yeah, it's like the whole little trade routes and everything.
Oh, really?
So
that's
yeah,
great.
A lot of fun.
You teach 4- and 5-year-olds. Do you ever use them as like guinea pigs?
Yeah, they're my guinea pigs. I try out all my stories on them and ask them, if they like these characters. And sometimes I just show them sketches and ask them what, and kind of tell them the story that way and see how they like it and how they respond. And I get to tell stories every Friday to 2 pre-K classes. So just stories from my head, old folk tales like Hansel and Gretel and stuff.
Oh, really?
Which usually they haven't heard, so that's really great to share with them, and it's good practice for me, and it's a lot of fun to see how they react and stuff. It's always fun because we act out the stories, and sometimes we act out, Billy Goat's Gruff and things like that, and that's always fun for them, especially those classic stories. I love those.
Well, I'm going to put another one of your books up here, and it's the Zephyr Takes Flight. So tell us about this book. I know that there's some model building involved with that?
So Zephyr Takes Flight is about a little girl who finds a flying machine and flies away to this other land. And so a lot of times I love to build things too, besides draw. So a lot of times I'll build something. So for this, I actually built a model of the flying machine that's about this big, made out of wood and everything. And it's really great. And I was visiting the Eric Carle Museum, and
up in Massachusetts.
Yep. Yes. And I brought it with me because I was reading Zephyr, and we were driving a car, so I could pack it up and bring it. And I showed it to them, and I'm very proud to say, and kind of in awe, that in July I'm actually donating it to the museum, and it's going to be on view in the library.
Oh, terrific! So
that's really exciting, and I just love building those things. Like with Swap, I built the ship, the sailing ship, and it's just a lot of fun to build those things, and I've always been building things. So,
and we have the Christmas Giant.
Yes, the Christmas Giant. This book was so much fun. It's about a giant and a little elf who make all the wrapping paper for Santa, and then Santa asks them.
I always wondered who made that wrapping
paper.
Right?
I mean, where does he get all the wrapping paper from? So, there's the Christmas Giant and his little elf, Leetree, Humphrey the Giant and Leetree the elf. And but when he delivers all the wrapping paper before Christmas, then they're kind of sad because they have nothing to do. So Santa says, well, can you grow me a big Christmas tree for the Christmas town where all the elves live? For Christmas.
No spoilers.
So, sorry.
No.
And the big thing you'll see, there's a little problem, and then they figure it out.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not really giving too much away.
I'm giving you a hard time here. Swap is 2016.
Yes.
But there must be something else.
Yes, so I'm working on a story about a little boy who wanders behind the scenes of a theater and all the people making the costumes and the sets and all that stuff. There's a little bit more to the story, but just all that fun behind the scenes kind of stuff.
So when you create
and
your
old
characters, do you draw upon either people you know or experiences you had?
Well, the little boy is based on a little boy in my class right now, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Not always do I do that, but he was just perfect. And a few of the other characters are like people that I kind of knew, you know, I changed them a little bit and stuff. And I'm actually excited because I got to go behind the scenes of a theater when the production, during the day, when the production wasn't going on, and got to draw, which was so much fun. And I'm excited to like design my own theater, which I think I'm gonna
A model theater?
Yeah, I'm making I made a cardboard model already, Rocco, and I'm gonna make a wooden model with sets that change and everything, which is like, I'm so excited to do. And I think I'm gonna call it the Peacock Theater. I think there's gonna be birds and stuff as the motif in the theater.
Right.
Because that's just fun to draw.
We have a lot of, many of our viewers are librarians, and you told me earlier a librarian story about being in school and how your school librarian helped you out. So
Yeah,
tell us.
she helped me out. So I used to get beat up all the time on the bus and waiting for the bus to go home. Going to school too, but so going home, most kids waited outside in the courtyard to get on the bus. And if I did that, I was always kind of hassled. So I learned that in the library, there was a window that I could sit and look and see when the bus pulled up, and then I would run down. And so the librarian must have known that that's what I was doing. And she asked me like what I was interested in, and I said drawing and everything. And so every day that I went to that window, on the windowsill were always a few art books for me to look at. And it really made a big impact on my life. And really, I still remember some of those books and the drawings that were in them and stuff. And it was just, you know, librarians are amazing people.
Well, that's a great story, a very moving story. And well, it was really great to have you here.
It's great to be here.
Today. And we'll be looking for Swap coming out. And we have both the Dragon and the Monster book.
Yeah.
And the Christmas Giant. So, Steve, remember, and you guys remember, until next time, give a kid a book in any format.